I'm interviewing William Scott Martin. Say hi, Scott.
Hi, Drew.
Alright. Could you explain how your childhood was? Like, was it good? Was it interesting? Boring?
I had a good childhood. I was an only child. I was born in 1967, January 31st. I had a fairly good childhood. I was only grandchild, only child, so I was spoiled probably. What else do you want to know about that?
Could you describe, like, your neighborhood that you grew up in?
Well, we grew up in several neighborhoods. My parents rented one house or another until I was about 14. That's when they bought their first house. So the first neighborhood I really remember was on Wilson Street in Farmville. And it was a nice little house. It used to be the school teacher's house, traditionally. And later on, the people that had bought it started renting it out. It had a regular backyard. It was a pretty decent little house. Then the next house we moved to was Miss Caraway's house. And we lived there for probably about 5 years. That was on the other side of Farmville. And then they bought a house not too far from the high school in Farmville. And we lived there until I was grown and moved out.
Were there any valuable or useful morals that your parents taught you as a child or somewhat affected you in your future?
Honestly, I think I was more affected by the morals I saw displayed by my grandfather or my grandmother on my father's side. My father was very thrifty. He was good at making deals, getting the better of people usually. We really didn't get along that well after I was a teenager. We seemed like we were too much alike. We argued too much. My grandfather, he was a very well-liked man in Farmville, very well known. At one time, he was the town manager in Farmville for several years. My grandmother worked at the library in Farmville, and she grew up there. My grandfather moved there from Fuquay Varina when he was early 20s, maybe 30. And they met when she was working at the movie theater and got married. My parents met when my mother was at Atlantic Christian College and my father was going there too. She finished college even after having me when she was 21. And my dad didn't finish college. He worked at Collins and Aitman, which was a textile plant in Farmville.
Is there any advice that you can give people from your previous experiences or past?
About life in general, or?
Just anything that would help people with life that you might have experienced or something?
Well, the first cliches that come to mind would be, if it smells like poop, it's probably poop. So think about what you're doing before you make mistakes. It's hard to correct on once you've already done it. And if something good comes along, take advantage of it when it does, because usually it doesn't come back.
And last, what's the most important thing in your life right now?
My wife.
Could you explain a little bit on that one?
Kim is the reason that I get up in the morning. She's the reason I go to work. She's definitely the reason that I come home. She is everything to me. And I look forward to every minute I can spend with her. I believe she has saved me from a lot of bad times. And I believe that she will save me from more in the future just by being near me.
Is there anything else that you would like to say other than things we have covered?
Let me see your list of questions.